Hey everybody, it's John, otherwise known as the History Buff. It's good to see all you guys. You're absolute legends that are out there. And first of all, thank you very much for all the people that follow and comment and like. I'm really shocked and happy that that's happening. Also, what do you think about doing an actual live stream, reacting in real time to something? Let me know your thoughts on that if you want to get involved, if you think that's a good idea. Otherwise, today we're going to be looking at 10 things Europeans envy about the USA. I don't know. This someone sent this to me, so we'll take a look at it.
If I got it wrong.
Diane Jennings.
All comments are good for the algorithm, even the ones that diss me.
Okay,
so yeah,
it's true.
10 things that we envy in Europe about America. As ever, my usual disclaimer, these are just my thoughts and opinions, generalizations. Don't take them too seriously. Don't take life too seriously. If you do, you're going to be in for a bad time. And life's hard enough. Don't be a silly Billy. She wanted to say don't be a hater ass biatch, but she would never.
I like her attitude already.
Okay, the first thing is definitely a personal one of mine.
Okay.
It is...
Okay.
What just happened? Okay, the first one is definitely a personal one of mine. It is technology. Now, I'm not talking like global huge things like the internet. Who actually invented the internet? I don't know.
The invention of the internet was a collaborative effort involving several individuals
there goes
and
the
institutions.
But in America, when I say they have a thing technologically that fixes every small problem in your life, they do. They have a thing that fixes every small problem in your life. For example, you're feeling overheated. A European will say open a window. An American will say turn on the air conditioning unit. I was saying recently how hot it gets in summertime in bed and sometimes how you can't sleep. And one of my patrons told me about this amazing bed thing that cools or heats your bed up no matter how you're feeling. I was talking about how problematic sometimes leaving your key in a door is, and you guys in the US told me to get this different type of handle on my door that requires a code. What I'm saying is Americans have a technological device that will solve your problem. I don't know why Europeans sometimes like to do things back to basics. We just do. An American default, I have a tech thing that will solve that. The next thing.
Okay, Americans do have those things. We're really marketed to by our own people and more by China. They come up with these inventions. I don't know if they do this in Europe, but we are heavily marketed to. And let's just say a lot of people fall for these things, you know, and we end up spending our extra money on this, which, you know, doesn't do much for, I guess, creating much extra money. We blow all our extra money. It's just
thing that I as a European envy about Americans is you have an expert for everything. There's a specialist who handles everything. I'm going to give you an example. Recently I sent out my beautiful only really designer thing I've had ever in my life, designer Louis Vuitton wallet, to be repaired in a shop. It's a general repair things shop, and it came back absolutely freaking destroyed. They destroyed it.
Okay.
I'm going to name and shame the company here, because why not? They have terrible reviews. I should have checked the reviews before. Anyway, I cried.
Yeah, that's true.
But back to my point. After I was telling some of the patrons about it, you guys were saying, oh, you could have gone into a Louis Vuitton store and gotten it fixed. So I went into a Louis Vuitton store just out of pure curiosity and asked, and they said, no, you can do that in an American Louis Vuitton store, but we don't have specialists.
I don't know why we're having this conversation.
A couple of months back, I had an issue with my oven, and rather than getting an oven specialist, I had to just call a handyman. Now, I'm not saying oven specialists don't exist, but they're not as handy as handymen. You'd have to be sending across the country potentially for this specific oven specialist. Whereas in America, you just have specialists who will drive like 3 hours because you guys have no concept of that being a long distance.
It's not.
It's just up the road. 3 hours. The next.
Okay, look, first of all, you can get at whatever part you need if you are handy. Most Americans are becoming handy in their own right. Finally. I shouldn't say finally. Our grandfathers were that way. At least my generation is becoming more that way. But I would counter this and say, you know what, most Americans, if your washer or if you have a dryer, your appliance goes bad, I will handily admit, and I don't think this is anything to be, envious about, but we will put it on the curb. We'll take it outside, put it on the curb. If it's not something that's easy to fix, we'll put it on the curb, and we'll just get a new one or we'll get a used one. Not me, but a lot of people do that.
Next thing I definitely envy, and honestly a lot of my friends do too, is you've deep fried everything. Everything.
We do.
America's attitude to deep frying stuff is, sure, why not?
Honestly, when I came back from South America, I had, I can't think of what it's called, the pockets where you fill it with the meat. If you know, put it in the comments. And my wife, this is just over the weekend for Father's Day, she got me a deep fried those things. I can't remember what they're called. It's like a meat pocket, but yeah, I had them in South America. I loved them there. God, I can't think of the name. And they're great, but this one came deep fried, and I'm like, no, this is not clean eating. It's very bad. We do deep fry everything.
Let's try it.
Deep fried to perfection.
And I
so true.
applaud that. Don't look at my nails. I can't afford to get them done this week. The next thing you guys do really well is customer service. Okay, I do think there is a caveat in this because everybody has their own views on how they feel about the service sector being supplemented by the public. Most Europeans do feel that the restaurant that hires, for example, a waiter or waitress, should pay them enough for a living wage.
Yeah.
Well, whatever your thoughts and opinions
should
are,
be.
That's not the way it is in America. In America, you tip.
We do.
As a result, everybody's super nice in customer service in America.
Yes.
Oh
God, she's gonna go. Okay, anyway, look, when it comes to customer service, there's a whole psychology on that. Again, people marketing towards us. It started very early in, if this is not just the United States, and it's not America, it's the United States. When the malls were very big, they're not big anymore because of Amazon, online shopping, but I was in customer service. I used to teach customer service. If you believe that I did that. I used to teach people through training courses how to be nice to people and smile on the phone because people can hear your smile. But yes, people are taught that customer service is everything, and I still believe it, and I don't see it happening as much. I see a lot more complaining these days and a lot less understanding. And I'm pretty sure that goes along with sort of like, if someone gives you a hard time in the comments, keep it in the comment section. Because in real life, you'd never say that to somebody, and in real life, when you're on the phone, people put up with a lot of unreasonable people, but to be able to keep your cool and to smile back and be pleasant, that's a tough thing because you can actually get fired for not being good at customer service.
I forgot to take my pimple patch off during this video.
Oh my God, she's killing me here.
Probably too late now.
Is she killing you?
I have a pimple patch on. Same thing goes for stores. When you go into stores, a lot of people pay their shop workers a little bit extra if they sell something, so they're paid on commission. So they're super nice to you in America.
That's true.
In the United States of the America.
Nah, it's true. All right. So where I worked was a jewelry store. For a long time, I was security operations, and I taught it how to sell. And there were selling courses. They worked 100% on commission, and then it wasn't until later that they changed it because they kind of got sharky. You know what I mean? But they were super nice. They knew how to close the deal. I mean, there was just. You talk about the art of the deal.
Now, you could call this arse kissing, but honestly, sometimes it's just nice to have your arse kissed.
It is nice to have your ass kissed.
That's definitely not the case.
Especially for this generation.
All parts of Europe. Mostly when you get talking to somebody who works in the service industry, they're going to be pretty sound. But there are also some people who are just like, you are an inconvenience to them being in that store. I would equate it to the most similar experience
Read your
I
audience.
have walking around shops and going to restaurants is in New York City.
If they don't want to be bugged, don't bug them.
Attitude, in my opinion, to a lot of places in Europe. The next thing that I envy about America, here in Europe, is you can vacation anywhere in the United States, and even if you want to go somewhere hot or somewhere cold, you can just go in your own country. Here, it takes a lot more planning to travel. You have to go across an ocean, usually, to go on vacation. And with that comes a lot of things like passports. I do think it's wild how you have hot places and cold places in one place, even though it's a really big place. The next big...
Okay, and you know what? One thing that is a common thread that we've discussed in my first videos is the complaints about America is that we're not smart. We don't know about the world. And you know what? Yeah, more so than not, I think, for the world, on the world as a whole, we have a higher proportion of people who don't get world history, who don't get a lot of stuff like that. We here in the States, we look at the rest of the world sometimes as the other states. You know, where have you been? Have you been to this state? Have you been? This state's beautiful. Go here, go here. And our first thing is go to the 50 states, or go to California, go to New York City, go to LA. You know, go to a rustic cabin somewhere. We do have that luxury, and that is one of the cool things about the United States. Of course, we do have our, you know, dangerous areas and, you know, all that stuff, just like every other place in the world. But yeah, I mean, it is a benefit. And honestly, I was at, I can drive 2 hours, I should say, to get to the Gettysburg battlefield. I can drive an hour to go to Philadelphia. I could drive 45 minutes to go to New York City. And I can also drive another 45 minutes and rent a cabin for a week in the middle of, you know, Pennsylvania or, you know, the state of New York. And people tend to move a lot in the United States. They move to places like, if they're in the city, they want to move to Vermont, or in the central, you know, United States, they can just do that. You can go to the place where you feel the most comfortable.
Big thing, and this is a big thing, and I do think that a lot of Europeans envy this about the United States of America. It's how you can get anything at any time, because your stores are always open. Not all your stores, mom and pop shops usually close, but you'll always have like a Walmart or a Target open. Am I right about saying that? Are they 24 hour?
Yeah,
no,
you are.
Natalie Portman got locked inside one in the movie. 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Okay, so most Walmarts close for a couple of hours. But in my experience, there are definitely shops that are open like at 2 a.m. in the morning. That is not a problem when I've been to the States in most places.
Okay, gas stations, you can get gas. They're all self-service, petrol stations, okay? Walmarts, most of them are open 24 hours a day. They're called super Walmarts. You know, it's not uncommon to see people during the day stocking the shelves because they don't close. And also inside, they have all sorts of stuff. You get other things like it's a gas station convenience store, you know, at the same time together. And the larger chains will have somebody doing the overnight shift. And there is a lot of that. So in the middle of the night, you know, you've got stuff to do. I remember our drunken night one time going and grabbing a hoagie and forgetting to pay for it. And I left a long trail of lettuce. But those were in my college years. I ended up going back and paying.
To find a shop that is open at all hours. In Europe, we do have things like 24-hour pharmacies and stuff, but it's hard to find.
We don't have 24-hour pharmacies, I don't think.
And the same goes for fast food. You can get fast food at like 4 a.m. if you want in the States. I remember when I was a drunken college student and there'd only be like one chip shop open at that time. Whereas in America, you have so much choice. You can go to a million different places when you're drunk. Which is a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look.
See, that's what 24.
Up the alcohol with some food.
I think it's always good to have access to food. The next thing, and this is, I guess, more of a character trait of Americans, but it's how you guys are always in awe of, like, old things. It's just very charming.
What do you mean?
And I realize that might sound condescending, and I don't mean it like that. But I love how an American
like nostalgia?
A castle or a really old bench, they're like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, they're more like, wow.
Wow.
And I just think that's really nice because we're just like, yeah, see that all the time.
We do have a very high historical self-worth in in the States. We do appreciate these things. You know, a bench that, I don't know, you know, whatever president sat there. You know, that we do celebrate a lot of things in our own past. I don't know. There's a lot of good things, as much as I, you know, and you can. There's a lot of historical places, because America, you know, as opposed to, like, you know, having all the land bought up already, you know, in the 20th century or whatever it is, you know, early on in America, you could always spread out. So you can go on these long rambling trips to God knows where, and you can see the world's biggest ball of yarn, because someone's got time and it's in the middle of nowhere. And all right, fine. And then you can find a spot where Abraham Lincoln threw up, you know, or whatever. And there's a historical marker there. And that's why so many people know a lot about just within America, Americans within America. Remember, we only had as a country, I guess, like 300 years to kind of get our act together, and this is as good as it gets, like it or hate it, you know. I mean, aside from the colonial years.
It's also really nice how you cherish your cultural identity. You're super into your heritage and like what parts of the world your ancestors came from. We don't care in Europe. For the most part, we just don't really care that much. If it's more than twice removed, we just don't care.
Okay, we like that because, especially now, more of and this is important now, more because of like your DNA and things like that. Like we do our family tree. One of the great pastimes is doing your family tree, knowing who your ancestors were directly. Like my great grandfather was a colonel, and during the Valley Forge campaign, he was trying to get food for the Continental Army. He was one of like the 4 or 5 quartermasters that were in charge of sections to get food. That's my claim to history, and I don't know why, but to me it gives identity. And then you can also find it up until the point where they came over from Europe or wherever they came from, mostly Europe. So I'm German and English, but mostly German. Actually, it's called Pennsylvania Dutch, and that's not Dutch, that's German.
Your parents came from a place, you're probably going to be interested in that culture.
Mm-hmm.
But if your grandparents or great-grandparents came from a place, it's less common to be super hyped about it or have it as part of your everyday life. I like how Americans are in awe of those things. Well,
you know, and in the 1920s, after World War I, there was a huge immigration wave of immigration, especially from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. A lot of Swedish, and so those are your grandparents, or in my case, great grandparents. So the stories of how they got here were not that far away, and the hardships that they went through, you hear about that stuff, and it's really, you know, on the general scheme of things in the world, very fresh in our memories.
This one will come as no surprise, and I do think all of my friends and family who've been to America have commented on this. It is your choice of products and services. You have so much choice, to the point that for me, when I'm in the States, it's really overwhelming to see all the choice. But for example, recently I was on Twitch. Oh, I started Twitch, by the way. And I needed to buy a new chair for this room for editor Diane. You're welcome. It hasn't arrived yet. Sorry about that. And everybody was like, oh, try this place. And I was like, I can't because shipping and all that stuff. And really, I only had a choice of like 2 or 3 places I could order from that I trusted. There are other places you could order from, but you don't necessarily know them. And yeah. So there was like Amazon, IKEA. There are many, many more, I'm sure, reliable websites you could buy from. But in the United States, like, you guys were quoting me chair companies galore, like famous chair companies. I don't think I know of any company in Ireland or Spain that specifically is like a chair company. Like, they just do chairs. And I'm going to go back to my old reliable, which is cereal. I freaking love cereal. You have so much choice in America. We do not have that much choice in Europe.
I never knew that about chairs. By the way, I never knew that about, I mean, I know we have a lot of choice. We do. Especially mattresses. Holy crap, there's mattress stores galore. There are usually about, I'd say maybe 3 to 4 major brands of something that create this whatever product it is, and they're large and they push out mom and pops, companies.
The next one, I'm going to leave it really simple. 2 words, free refills. I don't know why this isn't a bigger thing in Europe. I guess because they make so much money off the drinks, but it's so annoying. And it's so nice when I go to the States. I'm just like, more refills, please.
I've got 1 word, diabetes.
I'm like a spoiled child. I'm like, I need to be refilled 3 times. I need to get my money's worth here.
No,
and
don't
the number
be
one
American.
thing that I, as a European, envy about America. It sounds so cheesy. It sounds so cheesy, but it's a thing. It's a real thing. It's the American dream. Anybody can go to the United States and anybody can become a billionaire, theoretically. Now, I know that's very much just a theory, like your education, a bit of luck, all that kind of thing. But for example, when I used to be an actor, all of us were fighting
You were
for
an
these
actor?
tiny, very few parts that came across people's desks in casting. Whereas in America, every state has its own film, TV industry. Not every state, I'm sure. I don't know. Does Georgia have a thriving TV? I bet you have your own TV stations.
We have our own TV stations, public access networks. They're pretty much out of business, but usually local news, local television. You guys, I'm sure you all have them as well. And by the way, if you've ever seen The Walking Dead, it's filmed in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, which is now where everybody goes to act.
And that's the thing. You just have so much opportunity. That's just one industry, and there's so much opportunity. Opportunity is there's not as much of it in Europe.
Okay, you know what? That a lot of that has to do with that is sort of the American dream. You can make stuff happen when you work at it. I don't know how else to explain it. That it's a mindset. Like some people grow up and they say, I'm going to be, a dental hygienist, and that's fine, or whatever your vocation is, that's fine. But if you are good at finance, you end up working in the business for a while, but then you can also start your own company. It's really easy to do these things. I have a couple companies, that you can get into. Like one is I do real estate. You just need to be good with your money, set it aside, know what you need, and you can find like basically step-by-step instructions just by talking with people. So that is an American thing too, where we're very talkative. We will talk to people randomly, and people are very open and honest about giving advice about things, and how to do things. And usually you can find a guru, attach yourself to them, sort of become like an apprentice, and then go off on your own and create your own business your own way, and it will speak to somebody. And if you work hard, it'll happen.
I also feel like in America, people are looked at as independent more so. Nepotism is, of course, the big thing, like the Nepo baby culture. But also, people applaud people who make it on their own. I think that is also to do with how people will live really, really far apart from their families and stuff. Mm-hmm. There's just a huge opportunity for growth. Opportunity. Maybe opportunity is a less cheesy word than the American dream. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really lovely. And those are just a few.
Okay, what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think of my analysis? I will admit, I'm sure she speaks to some people. Her personality doesn't quite lend it to mine. I don't know that that's necessarily the list that I would put up, but I know there's some good points. I don't know about the free refills. I mean, I think you can come up with something better than that, I'd hope. Or have we already gone down that lane and has that ship sailed? Okay, guys, please comment down below. Give me a like, share it out. Do what you want to do, and I'll see you guys next time.